Hey guys, Brent here and welcome back to another episode of BrentMailPhotography.com. And today we're going to look at distorting the Burge. So if you remember the last blog that I did in the last YouTube video, we looked at dehazing the tallest building in the world. And if you go to my website, BrentMailPhotography.com, you'll see that I've actually transcribed this video and I've got all the large images there. So go check it out if you are interested in how I did this, how I got rid of that haze and made a beautiful black and white image. In this video, I'm going to show you how I distort the Burge. So if you'll notice down here, on the bottom right and the bottom left, I got the buildings leaning into the middle. They're all distorted and they don't look too real. And that's because I was using a wide angle lens and facing it up. So you'll notice all these buildings leaning in at the bottom left and the bottom right. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to distort it back to looking a lot better. Stick around and watch. Hey guys, Brent here, and let's have a look at how we can get rid of that distortion. And that's called barrel distortion. It's when you're using a wide angle lens, on the edges of the lens you get this distortion. And I was shooting, because this is the tallest building in the world in Dubai, when I was coming back with my family from Europe, you have to face the lens pretty straight, almost probably 45 degrees up into the sky. So this bottom bit over here there's a lot of distortion with a wide angle lens. So how do we get rid of that distortion? So if you remember the lens correction tool in Lightroom, if you go down to lens correction, they've got this enable profile corrections. So you can click that, and what it does is it gets rid of some of that distortion. Okay, so I've enabled the lens correction profile here, and you can actually click the distortions tab to go to less distortion or more distortion. And I think if you go back to the originals without enabling lens correction, it actually looks better. There's actually less distortion. So let's go have a look down here and see what that does. So if I've got the enable profile corrections set, so it's basically looking at the lens that you're using and the focal length that you're using, and it's trying to get rid of some of the imperfections in the lens. It distorts it more than when it's not set. So you notice that the pillars over here are leaning less when I don't enable that to when I enable that. But there's a much more powerful part of this lens correction drop down over here. It's the manual bit over here. So let's have a look at this and let's see how we can change this image to look a lot better. So here's the distortion again. This kind of gives me the barrel distortion, or I can get rid of the barrel distortion over there. I won't mess too much with that. I'm going to mainly deal with the vertical distortion because it's all to do with perspective. I was shooting up, and it's the vertical lines that are bothering me. So I can click on the vertical and I can go to the left over here, so I can have less vertical distortion. And you'll notice down here, if I can zoom in over there, you'll notice that those pillars are starting to be more vertical up and down and look a little more real to what the human eye would see. And I can go all the way over there, and I can even I can have them perfectly straight vertically. So let's just have a look at where they were. They were about over here when I started. Okay. And down here, they look pretty bad. They're leaning at probably, I don't know, about 30 degrees or so. If I go this way to about there, to about 50, they are almost straight up and down. The problem with that is I lose the top of the Burge. I've lost the building. It's been cropped off and it's gone out of the screen and I can't get it back. So there's a little trick that I figured out when I'm shooting a tall building like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back in history a little bit over here to where I was using the distortion amount. There we go. Okay, we'll go back over here in history. All right, and the first thing I'm going to do, let's get rid of the side panel, is I'm going to use the scale button. So I'm going to scale out a bit. I'm going to basically zoom out and give myself some more room for when I actually distort this image and squeeze it inward at the bottom. It's going to, it's going to go taller up the top and we don't lose some of it. So got the scale maybe to about 93%. Alright, now we can use that vertical distortion. And we're going to go vertically, and we just want to go to a point where I think it may work. Alright, there we go. So let's have a look at those. Okay, they're still leaning a little bit, but it's not as much as it was before. I may even go a little bit more here. I just don't want to lose the top of the verge over there. So we've gone to minus 32 over there, and that's looking a lot better to me. Now I can click the Constrain Crop tool, but what that's going to do is going to crop, and I'm going to lose a lot of this bottom section here. So instead of doing that, I'm going to crop it myself. So let's go back to the top here. We'll go to the crop tool. Alright, and I'm going to crop this myself. So I'm going to go down to about there, and I can crop in if I like on either side over here, just so I don't have that white space. And there we go. That already looks a lot better to me. So there we go, guys. That's distorting the verge. So let's have a look at the before image. So I'll hit the backspace key. Give it a second. There's the before, and there's the after. So there's the before. Obviously it's still using the same crop where everything's leaning in, and there's the after. To me that looks a lot better. Now in the next video I'm going to show you how to do this in Photoshop, where you've even got more options and you can actually clone in a bit of the sky or the foreground to make it a better looking picture. What do you guys think? Do you like the distortion tools that Lightroom has to offer? Please leave me comments below on my blog. This is Brent. Have an awesome day.